All right, we are live.
Okay. Hey, welcome everybody to Pirate Talk. This is episode number, is it number 4 now?
4.
Episode 4.
Yep.
So with us tonight, we have a special guest. We got Mitch Hoover from the Rock Yard. Want to welcome him aboard.
Margarita Mitch.
Margarita Mitch.
So like all of our shows that we've done so far, we'll probably continue this. We do a giveaway every night, and tonight's giveaway, and we'll do it at the end of the show.
You didn't even tell me
a Rum Runner T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
So stick around for that. It'll be at the end of the show, you guys.
I want one.
And not that many people are in here yet, so I might have to show that again here in a little bit. But with that, let's go ahead and kick it off with what's on the bench right now. Anything people are working on before we turn this over to Mitch and start asking him questions?
We'll go with Connor since he's already working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on I'm working on my hard body truck. I chassis swapped it, and now I'm putting electronics back in it and mounting electronics and stuff. And
What is it?
The super new top secret class 1 interceptor.
Nice.
There we go. I don't even know if it has an official name yet. I think we're just going to call it the C1 or something like that.
It's the super duper top secret class 1 interceptor.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Another good reason to stay tuned and watch the show because we give out secrets here all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Christian, what you got cooking? Anything fun?
This is about to be on the bench. I've had it for about 2 years now, but I think I'm finally coming to a lull in a little bit of a lull in the building part, but I still have my UC Fab moon buggy that I got to build. So it's most of the parts. I need shocks and links right now. I have the axles built and everything, but I have the skid. But yeah, it's been every time I get a little bit of time to work on it. I got the rock parts build that's coming up. So
gotcha. I have the same chassis. I think you have number 9. I think I have number 8, and Connor has number 7.
It's for sale.
It's for sale. You can own it.
Number 7's for sale?
It is.
He's a
Are you
nerd.
crazy?
It's for sale. Come holler at your boy.
$2,500 hairs.
Oh, geez. All right, very cool.
What you got going on, Mitch?
I recently did something I haven't done before, and I actually purchased the Vanquish Trucks of Fortune when I had them this last go around. And I actually ended up getting the gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Their Pro Kit or whatever. And so this has been my little project. I had a lot of my local buddies, Braxton, put it together for me. Just I've been busy with race cars and events and everything. So he assembled it for me. And then the plan is I have a hard body that I'm gonna chop and stretch to match my real Jeep. So I'm gonna turn this into a cage, and I'm planning on doing the solid cage, everything the same exact as my Jeep. So the goal is by Proline to have my Jeep. I don't know if it'll be done by then, but that's the goal. So that's been my big project that I've started more recently.
Oh, I gotta change that.
Very cool. All right, so for me, what's on the bench right now is my Class 3 Rum Runner. And I think I showed you guys this truck before.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the red rum rails, got the Reefs transmission. It's got F10 axles front and rear steer with Reef servos. Got the brass Smart 1100 in the front. But why it's on the bench is when I first built this with the deluxe shocks, as you can see there, I built it first with no springs in the front with 90 weight. And I liked it. It didn't work quite the way I like to drive. So I'm tuning it right now. I had the shocks, just had them apart. And I put the soft shocks, or not the soft shocks, but the soft springs in the front. And I changed it to 50 weight. And then I have these little hair bands, whatever you want to call them, on there to sort of help me when I go vertical, keep the suspension.
You need to hit up Dustin.
Yeah.
What's that?
You need to hit up Dustin and get some D's bands, dude.
Yeah, I have these bands on my class 2. I just don't have any here right now. So I'm trying these out, and they're working pretty well for me too. And then I'm getting ready to put the locker lights on it as well. So I got a set of locker lights here. Getting ready to put them on. And so, yeah, that's what's going on right now. That's why it's on the bench with the tires and wheels off it.
I got to put locker lights on this truck tonight, too. I just forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, man, get on it. Summer's coming.
Oh, trust me, I know. It's boring out here.
All right, we got quite a few people in the chat now. We got Printed Addictions.
What's up, Jason?
Rad Raff. Pete Tucker's with us again. Good to see you, Pete.
Bone Box.
We got Ryan here with us. I don't know what's the name? Is that you might have to help us? Psycho
Tick Mini.
Psychotic.
Okay, Psycho Tick Mini.
You gotta sound it out. You gotta sound it out. It's Psychotic Mini.
Okay, now I got it. It takes me a while. Yeah, I know. Thanks for helping me with that.
Taylor's in here. Oh, so speaking of Taylor, since I just saw his name, Crawlers and Coffee is this weekend. He told me to mention this, so shameless plug. Crawlers and Coffee is this weekend at Bracket. Tell me the time, Taylor. Sorry, I think they always start at 8, but I could be wrong. It's the swap meet, so get there. I'm not sure if there's going to be like a place, like places where he like recommends you to park, because I know in the past it's been pretty wild. So they want to leave some parking for the restaurant right there. So I'm pretty sure he'll probably put up a map of the parking area and stuff. But yeah, that's this Saturday at Bracket Airfield, probably around 8 a.m.
Let's see. Jason from Print Addictions, who's also one of the crawler addicts, he says 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Yep. Cool. Right on. So, what else was I going to say? Oh, what did you guys get anything new in the mail this week? Parts, RC related.
I got full size stuff. I didn't get RC stuff.
Go get them.
Oh, I did order something. Go get them. Oh, Jesus. I did get something. I did order something new RC today. I ordered a Hotline Performance transmission for my Class 3 truck. So, looking forward to that. That's a badass transmission.
Did you get me one too?
I did not.
That's true.
I'm just an old school foam kind of guy. So for my little Jeep project, good old Crawler Innovations dual side foams.
Yeah.
Put up a couple days ago. So, and then now I'll stuff them into the tires.
I got a sporty build coming up here pretty soon, so I'll be ordering some. I think it's Crawler Innovations.
Attaboy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I know. I sort of copied I think it's on my Class 2. Yeah, my Class 2 rim runner. I copied Phone Box Brian, and I put Proline 2-stage foams in the rear, but I went with the Printed Addictions super soft front. Connor's back.
There you go. Show us the new.
Oh.
Dang, Purdy.
So I got these today. Picked them up off of another crawler buggy guy out here, Tyler Harper. Came off his buggy. He used them at King of Hammers, and then I ended up buying those from. So now I got the shocks for my buggy.
One step at a time.
Yep, exactly.
What did you get anything, Dad?
No, I was just gonna say I know Jason Print Addictions is here with us, and appreciate that. And I know between all of us, we sort of mix it up. We're good friends, and also with Neil over at Squid Inserts, and so we run a little bit of Neil stuff. We run Print Addictions a lot, and then obviously 2-stage foams. Just depends on the setup we're looking for, and but they're all great products.
Yeah. I don't want to say it publicly, but Jason's also really good at helping you figure out what compound you need and stuff. Because I ran some of his inserts on one of my scale trucks, and he was great to work with helping me figure out what I wanted from what I'm used to driving. And he was able to make some stuff work for me that were better than what he was previously doing for how I drive. And so that was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And,
he did these when the Crux just came out and the Reef's wheels. I got a set, not right away, but pretty quick. And this tire is a little bit different than other tires, and Jason was already working on it and came up with a special insert just for these. So that's why I have in my Reef's Crux and wheels.
Right on. Yeah, I messaged Neil this week. He was coming down to Sand Hollow, down by where Connor's at, and I got some Reefs. These aren't the Crux ones. Those ones are in the garage, but I got some SL3D because the Jason and what's his name? I forget the other gentleman that makes the inserts for the Crux. Everyone's running those, and I asked Neil. I said, "Hey, do you have a set for the Crux so we can try them out?" So he sent me a set. So shout out to SL3D as well.
Yeah,
So.
I think Neil. Yeah, Neil. Neil's coming over tomorrow. Now we're supposed to hop on the Grom track in the backyard and do some Grom racing and barbecuing and stuff.
All righty. So are we still on Pirate Booty?
Huh?
Are we still on the Pirate Booty?
Yeah, we're still on that
Booty segment. Like what's coming in the mail? Okay, so Connor, was it right? You had the cover.
Yeah. Yep. Just got the shocks.
So what did I get?
What up, Reba?
I picked up this new axis body for my what is it? 1/18 scale. This is the body from Proline.
Oh, they're Typhon Grom.
Well, my Typhon Grom, yeah. So I still got to paint it, obviously, but this just came in. So looking forward to putting that on there.
I did get.
What is that?
I did get this.
Ooh.
What is that big old thing?
Monstrosity is all the Lexan Proline body panels for the Losi Sprint car.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sick.
Oh, that's sick.
So, yeah, I did not expect it to be this big, but obviously you got to cut them out and stuff. But yeah, these are all the clear body panels for.
Right. Dude, they need a track. We need a track around here for those.
Tony's Hobbies is talking about putting one in.
Yeah, shaves 115 grams off the car.
Nice.
That's sick.
Yep.
So cool. All right. Well, no, we're done with mail call today, right? So let's get with Mitch. So Mitch, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into the life of RCing? I know you got a cool toy next to you.
So as a little kid, I was always into the RC cars, and right off the bat, when I was 3-4 years old, my parents realized I didn't like the toy cars that only turned left. A lot of the cheaper Walmart cars back when I was born in the late 90s, super long time ago. High-end ones or the low-end ones like Walmart, they were usually powered like for the cable to remote, and because of the servo setup they had, they would only turn one direction. And apparently at 3 and 4 years old, I'd be like, why no turn right? And that's when my parents realized, like, we need to get this kid stepped up to a bigger car. So then at that point, when I was 3, 4, or 5 years old, my family had always looked at cars that turned both directions. And that was kind of cool because that means you got the monster trucks and those kinds of things. But the car that really set off everything was Christmas 2006. And I have a family photo. Hopefully it comes up good. That is my parents, myself, and my older brother with the first ever publicly produced RC rock crawler, the Nylon, which was built by Funrise. What was cool about this car is it wasn't quite hobby grade. Oh, what's cool about it is it actually had soft tires. It's actually four-wheel drive. It actually had decent steering power considering what it was back then. And the best part is, as a little kid, they're freaking massive. So it's only 2 inches shorter, 3 inches shorter than an SEX6 in length. The steering angle is hideous. The ground clearance is the opposite of a portal.
Wow.
Drive, they actually crawl. They pretty much run off of a 12-volt dirt bike lead acid battery, which was terrible and cool at the same time. Because when you get it running and charge, it would take 6 hours to charge the damn thing, but it would run for 8 hours, 7 hours. But the highlight of that car as a little kid when I got that, and that really, I wouldn't say screwed me up for life, but set me in a specific path for my entire life, is it came with this little disc. And I keep this thing in my safe so I don't scratch it or lose it. But it came with an hour-long DVD all about rock crawling, how to rock crawl. And the best part about it is that it actually they actually talked and interviewed the We Rock drivers, and I think his name's Joe. I might be mistaken. Connor might be able to remember. Oh, Big Rich. I can't remember his name real quick. But Big Rich, that used to run We Rock back in the day, he's actually in this talking about it and how RC correlates to real life with line choice and everything else. And then in that video, half an hour of it is cool We Rock rocket buggies bouncing and stuff, and the other half an hour is how to take care and how to drive the toy car. And so that legitimately set me on the deepest path of my life. So that was 2006 when I got that for Christmas. The AX10 Scorpion from Axial, the first like production car they came out with, was in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, Connor.
Yeah, about two. Oh, it was 07 or 08.
So my dad actually went to SEMA, I believe it was, and they had them there before they were even like released to the hobby shops, and he was able to buy one there. And so that's when I got my first ever crawler, was the AX10 Scorpion, and it even come with a locked front diff. The front diff was open, and then they gave you a steel locker to swap into it, and then it was geared way too high. It was absolutely hideous, but that's what sent me down that path. So the crawling has just been deep, deep. I know a lot of the people that come to the Rock Yard and enjoy the events, because they don't know of me previously to these events, they think I'm newer, as in the past 5 years, when in reality, I've been in it for 12, 13, 14, 15 years. So it's the difference is, though, is that because of the cars I got into, I dove into the comp cars. So scale cars, I've only been doing for the past 4 years, 5 years. Before that, my focus has always been like what Connor likes to do and Christian does now and again, is all the WRCCA Pro trucks. And so this was my passion and this was my focus. COVID came around and everybody's doing scale trucks, and the scale trucks are now capable. So now that they're capable, they're fun to drive, and now they're almost as capable as these damn things now, to be honest. So it's just been a lifelong of playing with toy trucks.
Now the one you just showed us, was that the original? Is that still the same one that you got?
No. So the orange truck?
Yes.
No, this is not the original. So
okay.
I wanted a scale truck, a more scale one as a kid. So I chopped mine up to put this body on an axial scale truck to have little tires and stuff.
Okay.
Basically, an overgrown class 1 is what it was. And it was the worst thing I ever did. As a young kid, I didn't care. I thought it was cool. Looking back on it, it's so disheartening because that was like my one car. So
Yeah.
the reason I have this one is about 4 years ago, I was talking with some of my buddies. And my race cars, when I raced hammers in 2017, 18, and 19 years ago, they always had a bright blue cage and orange body stripes. And I never figured out where I got that from and why I did that. And then finally on eBay, I ran across a nylon. And I was like, holy crap. That's where my love for the baby blue comes from, with the orange. And then I was like, I have to buy one. So I actually ended up buying 2. The other one's in the attic. This one stays in my basement, all protected.
Sorry, I'm only laughing because the buggy that Connor traded you for the drift car was that same damn color.
That's right.
Yeah. So when I wanted that blue in 2017, I went to Lowe's and Home Depot and I bought like 30 different blues. And it took me forever to find the right blue. And then once I found that right blue, I've stuck with it. And now you can't buy it at Lowe's or Home Depot. I have to order it. And I still order it to this day.
That's awesome.
That blue, dude. It was just, oh my gosh.
See, but I like it. These guys don't like it as much, but I do. I like the baby blue. I had a Baja Bug when I was a kid, and I got some baby blue, but it was a flat, for high temp.
Okay.
And I painted the stinger on my Baja Bug and I don't know, it looks so good.
I don't know. That blue is just like, I'm not a fan of colored tube cars. That's why whenever a new Capra or something comes out, it's I'll only get black or gray because I just do not like colored tubes. So people when I had the Moonbike, be like, "Why is your car blue?" I'm like, "It's just Mitch, bro. He just paints everything blue."
It's funny you say that because I see any other color of car, RC car, real life, anything. If the cage is painted anything other than gray, black, or raw, I feel like it's the most childish thing ever.
Yeah.
As soon as I paint blue, I love it.
Oh, jeez, dude.
All right, so I guess my next question is, how did the Rock Yard come about? So obviously, we're all coming over, and you throw amazing events, and we're just having a great time, and you got that really cool property. Your house even sits on it. How did the Rock Yard come about as we know it?
So that can be a very deep talk, but ultimately, it was a once in a lifetime situation. I bought my previous house. I don't really like to talk about it publicly, but at the same time, I feel like I need to talk about it publicly so people understand the situation I'm in. So that way people don't have a misunderstanding of why I'm here. Before COVID, I bought my first house. It was a smaller house. It was not on the hill like the Rock Yard or anything like that. Very much a simple townhouse. But COVID doubled the value. And so I bought it a couple years before COVID. COVID shot everybody's prices up, everybody. I was not planning to sell. The house was nice. I needed some remodeling done, but I was planning on staying there. Not a big deal. I grew up next door to the Rock Yard with my parents. That's why I grew up from the age of 2 all the way till I was 22 when I moved out. And the old man that used to live here raised professional tumbling pigeons, so show pigeons. So if you're ever at the Rock Yard on the north side of the house, you'll see some birdhouses. There's 3 of them. Those were actually very famous birdhouses that were in magazines at one point for pigeons, for fancy show pigeons. So as a kid, it was really cool because getting ready for school, I'd go out in the morning and there'd be 50 to 100 pigeons going around the house, flying around and stuff, because he would let them out to fly for an hour and they would all land and he put them all back in the cages. They were not dirty pigeons. They were amazing pigeons. The old man had been doing that. Donovan, he had been doing that since he was 17 years old, I believe it is, or 18 years old.
Wow.
He was 82 when he passed, if I'm not mistaken. And ultimately, he'd done all the right things to take care of the bird dust and those kinds of things. They were not messy cages or anything like that, but just that much years and that many birds throughout his life, it wiped out his lungs. So when he passed away, we went to the funeral and we're all friends with the whole family. And one of the grandsons is like, "Hey, you should buy the place." I was like, "We can't afford that place. It's way too much money." So I didn't know any better. He threw out a number. The number was quite literally unbelievable. I was like, "There's no way." Once again, I didn't know any better. So I was able to work out a private loan with a separate family member that's not local. And I approached the wife and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to make that offer. If it's doable, I'd like to do that." What the brothers didn't know is that that's what they want, or the brothers knew that I didn't know, is that price that I offered was that they wanted for both brothers. So I offered half of what they wanted, unknowingly. The lady, the husband of Donovan, I grew up next door. She's like, "Mitch, the neighbor kid wants it. He can have it." So I got the house half of, quite frankly, what it was worth.
Wow.
Even still, the only reason it's doable is because they used to have a detached garage that they turned into a living space. And it's now a nice house. It's fully furnished.
Yeah.
And I actually rent that out to help look at the cost of my mortgage and everything. So the only reason I'm here is I got a once in a lifetime opportunity. And that once in a lifetime opportunity happens to have a guest house to help make my bills even feasible.
Right.
So that's how I ended up here. When I first looked here to look at it out of curiosity, I knew there was a lot of rocks. And I knew I would be rock crawling here because I myself was already rock crawling a lot. I started having a couple events here and there. I was like, I'll invite some people on Facebook and see what happens. The first event we had like 40 people show up. And I was letting people and it was a traffic jam. I had to find people to move other people's cars. Like, hey, is that your car? Move it. We need to get this car out. Like, they need to leave. Like, it was hectic. And after the second or third event of that, I was like, this is actually like a problem because now I know I'm doing this forever. And then it's like, I have to actually make this a thing because it's an opportunity for both the general public to have somewhere to go when I can be open for them. I love people. I've done a lot of off-road racing. The enjoyment I get out of the expenses does not match 100 people coming over and playing with toy trucks. With this, you can't beat it. So it's just developed into this thing. Probably after the second event, I didn't even have a name for it until after the second or third event. And I sat down with my buddy Jack Roy and Tyler Barnett, and we're crawling at like 2 a.m. And I was like, what are we going to call this place? I don't want to say which one called it the Rock Yard because I don't want to have them mad at each other. But one of them is like, just call it the Rock Yard. It's what it is. It's a yard full of rocks. I was like, perfect. And then I immediately thought about it. And I was like, if you call it the Rock Yard RC, it goes along with Try RC, which trying remote control cars if you haven't done them. Try RC, try rock crawling if you haven't done rock crawling before. So for me, I feel like that's very fitting because it fits all these different slangs that I really enjoy. I think I can mold together for future ideas if I have any. So basically just been flying by the seat of my pants with it, inviting people, trying to have events, trying to keep it safe and sane, and trying to just give opportunities for people to bring in their products and have vendors and booths and have events for the public to enjoy.
Yeah, Ryan said Christmas at the Rock Yard's always a fun event.
Yeah,
It is.
I didn't make last year's because my mom wanted to go on a little dinghy boat out in Newport for her birthday.
that's right. Yeah, we were on the 7 seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, family first, so
You what? Say it again?
family comes first. So there's that.
Well, and then for the past like 3 or 4 years, my mom's birthday always ends up being it's the first weekend of first Saturday of every December. So Crawlers and Coffee always lands on her birthday.
Yep.
So the past 3 or 4 years, she's been up at Horseman's or something, just hanging out
That's
with all
true.
of her. So
Yeah, that's true. She lets us get away with a lot.
but yeah,
For this Christmas event, you'll have to let me some dates know ahead of time so I don't screw that up for you guys.
yeah, as long as it's not the first weekend of December, I think we should be all right.
Perfect.
Or that,
Yeah,
by December 3rd, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the unique things about there's a lot of unique things about the Rock Yard, but it's just, not only the rocks there like amazing and super grippy, but they're all over the place. They're all different sizes and shapes, and there's different. You can have a comp going over here and another one going on over here and one over here all at the same time, really, if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And you got palm trees and cactus on the property. But it's really a cool layout and just a really wild variety. You go down towards the pond down there,
Yep.
and you go back in, it almost turns into a jungle sort of looking place,
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities for different kinds of cars too, just because of that. You can run a class 1 truck there, and for the most part, if you stay in the pond area or that direction, you can have a good time with class 1s. If you go up to the top of the hill, you can play with the class 3s and find some really nasty lines. Yeah. And it's been great just because everybody can bring all their cars and there's enough variety for them. So by no means is there an excess amount of rocks. by no means is it an endless amount of rocks, but it's a large enough area that if you're in one area, by the time you get to the other end, your battery's already dead anyways because you hit all the hard lines. So it works out perfect because you want to go back anyways, get another battery, hang out, and then go out again. So it works out.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is too is like you what?
Oh, I was gonna say extra camera share screen. Hold on a minute. Share screen. Window. Oh, this one. This right here is probably my favorite line at your house right here.
That's a good line.
This crack right here. I mean, for class 2 and class 3, you just getting into it's a chore.
Yeah.
And then I think I locked myself up in here with this truck, but I've done it in class 3. You can drive through that way and then turn around, and it's even harder getting into it coming backwards.
Yeah, it is very hard.
Yeah, but it's all like decomposed granite, super grippy rock over at your place, and
yeah, the amount of traction. Oh my gosh, pretty much any tire that doesn't have sipes in the lugs works great. If there's sipes in the lugs, it picks up the little granules off the granite, and then they get loose.
yeah, I locked myself in pretty hard right here, but anyway.
Yeah, it's easy to do on that line.
Yeah.
Well, there's some like it's like kind of like the rocks are so big out there too. Like realistically, like you could test like full size crawlers out there, which is sick. Like when I went over there and got the moon buggy from Mitch, he's like, "Oh, you want to drive it?" And I was like, "You mean like here?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." So like we just ran out there and ran like a little line in the side yard, but it's just like, dude, you could like easy go out there and like actually run a couple pretty good lines like in full size colors.
In full size, speaking, if you were willing to destroy the rock, there are some awesome lines. I've been this close. The only reason I haven't is I'm a little bit of a hippie in that sense. I want to keep the rocks pretty, especially because it's in my backyard.
Yeah.
And then also all those rocks are now toy truck lines. So if I like knock down some stuff, those lines are now gone.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it as good as I can. It's been rough. I took my Jeep up the other day and went up the big face of the dirt hill. When you first come in the gate, I went all the way up to the rocks and turned around and dropped down the waterfall. That's as close as I'm going to be in the rocks because I cannot be on the rocks.
Yeah, that last comp that we had, that Golden State had at the Rock Yard, I think this is probably my other favorite. I'm just gonna keep sharing because like you have so many freaking cool lines in that. Let me see window. Here we go.
Joe said, "Mitch, can I bring my 1-1 buggy over?"
Oh no.
Like this one's like right at the start of like the south side of crawling, and it's already hard enough, and then to put gates in there and try and navigate a truck through there.
What's funny is the very first time I put a spot through the little Rock Yard RC banner stakes, the very first time I did that hole was 6 inches shallower. It was a 5-inch ledge. And I was like, this will be here forever. It'll be easy. And by the end of that first day of that first small event we ever had, it was already dug out 4 inches. And I swear it keeps getting deeper. It's not getting deeper because it's already at the bottom, but it just feels like it's getting deeper every time I crawl that line.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I thought, because when we went at that comp during this video, I was looking at it and I was like, that's steeper than it usually is.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is too, like you can have class 2, class 3, class 1 comes out there easy, and then there's hard enough stuff out there to where like we've had the borderline crawlers, MOA, and sporty comps out there, and like even those, like you're pushing the limits of those cars out there too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's enough lines that you can spend a lot of time practicing with all the WRCCA style trucks, and the rocks are not lacking. You can learn lots of things. It's been very beneficial to me because previously in my rock crawling, I comp crawled a lot, but the most local rocks I had were 10 minutes away from me at my grandma's property. And it's just a pain. It's not far enough to be a pain, but it just is, because by the time you charge your trucks, By the time you hop in your car and you drive over there and drive back, it's a 45-minute ordeal before you even really get to drive your trucks. And so previous to the Rock Yard, I didn't drive my comp cars as often as I wanted. Now I legitimately keep 2 or 3 450 miles, 3Ss or 4Ss charged all the time. And if I get home, if I want to crawl, I step out my back door and I crawl on some of the most amazing rocks I've ever even seen. And that really helped a lot a couple of years ago when I went to Arizona Shootout, because I've always gone to competitions. I've been going to competitions since I was 2013. Since 2013, not since I was 2013, but since 2013. And I've always been decent. The biggest thing that held me back then that I didn't know was I was driving a twin stick controller. So I was doing a DX6i plane controller. My left stick was my front motor. My right stick was my rear motor and the steering. And I didn't want to switch, so I didn't. So some of these old school guys that still compete with the twin stick plane controllers, they're smarter than I was. I don't mix it. And so to bump up the waterfalls and those kinds of things, I really struggled. And I didn't want to get away from that because to buy a Futaba or a Noble is expensive. Yeah. So I didn't do that. So up until just 3 years ago, Nabil, gosh, I don't even know how to explain Nabil. He's a world champion of the WRCCS stuff. He was a low-C driver. He's a Holmes driver or shift driver. He's decorated, to say the least. He finally talked to me. He's like, dude, you need to get a Futaba. And I was like, they're too expensive. They point me in the direction of the 4 p.m., which is the cheapest one I have. And for what we need, it's $250 or it was. And I was like, I bit the bullet. I'm like, this is going to suck. Literally, my competition level went from bottom pack to top 30%, 40% at all the local events.
Your controller was holding you back.
Yeah, because you don't lose all the speed of trying to be all intricate and stuff. And I feel that way with the Noble and then the Fly Sky. A lot of people do the rear steer on the scroll wheel and stuff. It is very accurate and precise, no doubt about it. I feel like when you're in a comp scenario, it's slower. And I'm not saying slower as in minutes, but seconds. And when you're talking seconds on a 6-minute time limit or 7-minute time limit, if you're doing Golden State, you don't have those seconds to lose to strand it out. Where if a Futaba or Noble, or if you have it programmed, you can just click it to center. That's not to say it's not fast by any means of a scroll wheel, because you can be super fast on it. But with all the Futabas and everything, I'm a big fan of just having it notch click. And a lot of people don't understand that, but it's because you can click it 2 times or 3 times and you're at center and you're good to go. With the scroll wheel, if you don't find that center, you're going to be crabbing, trying to go through the next gate, and you crab too much and clip the gate.
Yeah. I've seen some people use those scroll wheels that are on the handle right there. There's one right on top of the other one.
Yeah.
They use that, and it notches over. It's too slow. I use a Noble, and I use that one right up underneath the screen.
Yeah.
So it doesn't notch, it's smooth, but you're controlling your rear steer with on the knob with the top of your thumb right here off to the side. Yeah. So it gets pretty.
I think the best thing I realized more recently was at Nationals WRCCA with I think it was Matt from Deluxe. We got talking about controller setups and stuff. And I have a very specific way I set up my cars and on my controller, the way my rear steer clicks and everything else like that. And sometimes on the MOA trucks, you have front dig and rear dig, so you can control them independently. On my controller, I like to use my thumb button. You click it forward to send power to the front. Well, some people like to think that you click it forward to hold the front because you're pushing forward. The opposite. And a couple of my buddies, I helped them set up the cars, and I set it up how I liked it, and they didn't like it, and they weren't used to it. I was like, oh, you just need to learn it, because that's the easier way to do it. It's easier for my brain, not for them. Matt's recommendation was, he's like, I don't care whose car it is. If it's not natural when you turn it on, it'll never be natural because you have to learn it. If you set up the rear steer on your crawler and you scroll the wheel and it goes the opposite direction of what you envisioned you wanted it to go, do not even try to learn it. Just
Yeah.
make the controller make it to where it wants to go that direction.
Right.
Because it takes the confusion out of your brain. Your brain already thinks it wants to go that way. Let it go that way. Don't try to retrain it. Because if you try to retrain it,
My dad and I are like that.
Yeah.
Like
I have my rear steer opposite because I don't pay attention good enough. So my rear steer on my class 3 a couple years ago versus my super WRCCA, I was driving the super directly after driving a battery pack through my class 3, and I was like, holy crap, my rear steer is opposite. Why?
No
Because
good.
I was trying to train myself to drive
No
that
good.
truck. And so I was fixing it rather than just programming it.
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest eye-opening thing that I learned from Matt Deluxe is like, you got to set up to where it's natural to you. End of story. And
Right.
if it takes a funky wheel for your steering, have at it. If it takes toggle clicks, have at it. It's whatever you're comfortable with so you can learn. So
I remember I remember before you moved into your new place and you were already pretty good at MOA and sporty. And then like I remember there was like we went to Arizona Shootout about 2 years ago, and then like literally like the next year came around, and that whole time, like every day you got home from work, you were just like run a couple batteries through your MOA, and all of a sudden you went, like you said, you went from being like mid pack, and now, dude, you're like top 5, usually top 5 almost every time I see an MOA comp now, like a lot of times in the top 3. So it's crazy how much of a difference that made you just going out there every day and crawling and stuff, and now you're just absolutely murdering. So it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I feel like I was doing a lot better because of the amount I'm driving. The most recent big one I did was last year Arizona Shootout, and that was like my real set in stone. Like I am competitive, I am doing good, and in a backwards way, I don't know how to say it properly without sounding bad, but I have to thank my buddy Jacob. He actually passed away tragically like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before Arizona Shootout, and my family was first on scene to get him, and it was not a good time. I got home that night, and my tenant Jack Roy was like, "Hey, let's go drive toy trucks." Every day after work for 3 hours, I would drive my pro truck for 3-4 weeks. That's all I did. I'd get home and had to keep my mind busy. I would just go and do that and do that and do that. When I went to Arizona Shootout, I went with the mindset of I'm just here to have a good time to get away from life. I was frustrated. My best buddy had passed away. It was not a good time. I just drove. I drove like I was at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. Sorry, guys.
Don't worry, dude.
I just drove like I was at home, though. My buddy Jack kept me calm and cool by the end of the day. Ryan from Shift, on the last course, I was ready to take some really big risk for some bonuses. And he's like, don't take them. You don't need them. I was like, no, but I'm going to do it because I'm just here. He's like, no, don't. I listened to him. Off the clock after that, I tried it, and I hit the gate, and I would have took second against Dave Cape. Dave Cape is literally a world champion of WRCCA. Untouchable. I tied with him points-wise. And then we ended up having 3 tiebreakers in a row. The only reason I won that event was because they ended up going off of not overall score, because overall score was tied, but the most perfect scores. So I had 3 perfect course scores out of 5. He had 2. So because I had perfected another course,
Wow,
I took the win. And like literally the only reason I drove that good was because of Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
I was not driving nearly as much as that. I was trying to do a lot of driving to make sure I was good and in tune with the truck and comfortable. But it got to the point where like I was just so comfortable with the truck, I didn't even think. I drove it like I was in my backyard. I don't think I would have done as good if I didn't have the rock yard. I know for a fact I wouldn't have done as good if my buddy didn't pass away.
Yeah.
I found more recent years, it's bizarre how competition-wise with full scale of race cars, small cars, anything that happens at home kind of depicts what happens in your personal life, what happens in your hobbies. And when you're in a down spot like that, it's important to find something that's consistent and you have good people around you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but at my Christmas events during my raffles, I tell everybody I love them. I genuinely mean that. Like, if you're at my house, you're at my house. I welcome you with full open arms because I know what I felt like before that competition.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right on, Mitch.
Yeah. So we had, I forget how I was telling this the other day. I mean, I know like the Operation Love and Charlie guys, like that's their avenue. Like one of their avenues for sure is
Definitely.
RCing, man, just to
Yeah.
get through whatever they're going through in life after the military and all that stuff. And then like recently we had like, in just our family, we've had like two like my grandmother passed away, then my
Yeah.
wife's stepdad just passed away, and then my uncle just got diagnosed with brain cancer. And dude, I've been in that garage, dude, same thing, just wrenching away. I like
Yep.
building crawlers, and then I got into dirt racing, and like I've been out in the garage just like, because I start doing other things if I'm not keeping my mind busy, you know. So it's definitely this hobby. It's therapeutic as well as it is just going out and having fun.
As much as it's a money problem, it's very therapeutic.
Yeah, my wife goes, "Hey, where did that $500 go?" That I was like, "Oh, you know, kind of
Yeah.
spend it."
Yeah,
know,
it's very therapeutic, and the friends you make and the relations you make is bizarre. And like I showed this truck earlier, this truck is important to me. My buddy Jack had this truck for a short minute, and this is my close buddy Jeff's I compete with. My buddy Jack needed money, and he threatened to sell it. I was like, "No, you don't. That car stays in the family." I don't want public to say it, but I literally changed teams to be able to keep my friend's truck in the family. And
Yeah.
I put all the electronics in it because it was falling apart age-wise, but like it's family. Like I'm not terribly materialistic. I don't like to think I am, but when it comes to stuff that friends used to drive and those kinds of things, I very much am now. And yeah, the community is just absolutely amazing, open arms.
Mhm.
I think that's the part that I've enjoyed the most about the Rock Yard. Man, I was crawling by the fire. There's a gentleman, I think it's Matt. He has a little YouTube channel and stuff. If I remember, I'll have to tag in a post later today. And he's came and crawled at my house a few times. Just a genuinely nice guy. His cars, not my style. His driving, not my style. Talking with him, nicest guy you'll ever meet. And there's a lot of that. A lot of the cars you see on the crawl, I don't want to drive with that kind of car. It's not my style. But as a person, they're great. And we're at the farthest trail away from Camp or Proline. I lost a 3mm bolt, a nut. I didn't have any tools with me. I'm walking back, and he's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" Like, I was like, "Oh, I was missing a bolt." The dude took an extra bolt off his cross brace of his chassis and gave it to me.
Mhm.
Like, I think that was the coolest thing ever. Like,
yeah.
in reality, have I known this guy personally? No. He's been to my house twice to crawl. That was that extent. He'd been twice, and that was it. So, the sort of relationships you make, how friendly people are. Some people you do not expect to be friendly at all are the nicest people you ever meet.
Yeah.
And like some of the backgrounds that these people come from, like they need a place to come to and crawl and compete and do these things because they need to stay busy, just like I needed to stay busy.
Yeah.
And so I try to do a lot of events. When I first got the property, I was trying to do monthly. That is just physically impossible. So ideally, I like to do 3 big events a year is my goal. Well, that being said, I'm going to plug myself in right now because I'm excited about this. My girlfriend Taylor is really into Halloween. I'm not a crazy Halloween guy myself, but she is. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make my Christmas event with the Christmas of the Rock Yard larger, bigger raffle and everything. Raffle's already amazing. It's already an amazing event, but I want it bigger and better because why not? And she's like, "Well, why don't you just have a Halloween event?" I was like, "That's not a bad idea." So this event's going to be a little different. We're calling it Harvest 32. Harvest because it's not in time with Halloween. My schedule is too busy beforehand. And also Proline just released their dates a couple of weeks before Halloween. So it wasn't going to work good for that. So November 1st, the night after Halloween, we're going to have Harvest 32. Everybody doesn't know what 32 is. That's the length of a Pinewood Derby racetrack. So I want to have some fun. I didn't want to take away from the Christmas event having the best decorated, but I want something to do that family members and kids and everything can have fun doing. And I thought about it. I was in Cub Scouts as a little kid. I'm like, a lot of kids haven't done Pinewood Derbies. I was like, so we're going to have a Pinewood Derby race. So I was actually supposed to be picking up a Pinewood Derby track on Saturday. The Pinewood Derby trucks, you can buy the kit on Amazon. You can get an 8-pack for $20. Or you can buy them individually at most of your local hobby shops, carry them too for $6-8. Cheap stuff. And we're going to have a $5 entry fee for the Pinewood Derby race. And overall winner gets the cash prize. So if 20 people come and play with Pinewood Derby cars, first place goes home with $100. So I wanted to have some really good friendly competition. Try to keep costs down as much as I can. So that way it's fun, but not breaking the bank. So I figured $5 was the easiest way to do it. Because basically $20, you can go raise a Pinewood Derby car and have a chance to win $100, $150, depending on how many people actually attend. So really excited for that. And then, yes, it's going to be Halloween. It's the night after Halloween. So the Rock Yard will be all Halloweened out, just like Christmas.
That'd be cool.
Pretty cool. Rad.
So
You're definitely going to have to set rules for them Pinewood Derby cars because you already know how all of us are about what am I doing?
I'm already building a pirate ship.
For simplicity, we'll probably use the same exact rule book that the Boy Scouts use because it's easily accessible, easily findable. Otherwise off the post and people are like, whoa, this says no, just go off the Boy Scout rules. It's super easy to search up and find and just do it on that.
So no forward skid cars?
No, no.
High clearance links.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I want to get into this. We're probably going to run over, but that's fine. I don't really care. I can't believe how fast this time has burned by on this live stream. But we definitely need to talk about your King of Hammers experience. Not only this year, but we need to talk about this isn't your first time this year racing King of Hammers. This is your first time racing 4,600 class unlimited King of Hammers.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sorry, 4,400.
Yep.
But it's not your first time racing hammers. So if you want, give a brief description of your past years in King of Hammers, your experience with that, what you raced. And then I'd definitely like to hear about this year's King of Hammers race for you.
He has a video that if you'd have been in here sooner, you'd have seen it.
Well, I've already seen it, fool. Anyways, keep going.
Let's see if I can find this. So basically, let's see if I can do this right. I don't know what's working.
I got it.
Yeah.
The wrong one.
Get some.
We'll play this one.
And it's not blue, which is crazy.
You want me to remove it?
Well,
Uh-oh. Is it playing?
I'll just talk about it right now instead. Basically, there we go. Man, I totally goofed this up, didn't I?
We had it.
I'm not gonna touch anything before I exit out of it.
Is it playing, Mitch?
It was, yeah.
I'll hit play.
It didn't play on my screen.
No, I didn't play it. It posted up, but it never ran.
Oh, here we go.
Try and bring it back up again. Yeah, now.
So now I can see enough. Thanks, guys. Basically, another weird story. One of my close buddies, James McElroy, right out of high school, rolled in a Can-Am Maverick in front of me while I was in my Jeep. And he reached up and grabbed the roll cage and lost his pinky finger. And that was enough for me to be like, oh, what I'm doing is unsafe. So the following weekend, I took a Sawzall to my Jeep and I cut it in half.
seems a little drastic, but
super easy fix, not big deal. The idea was I wanted a really good cage. And everything I looked up online is the only way to build a good cage is you have to build it into a chassis. You don't just build a cage and bolt it to the top of a Jeep. That ain't right. So that was the idea. I chopped the back half off, and I was just going to do a lot of cage work to tie it all in solid to the frame and everything. About 2 weeks into it, I was like, shoot, this is September. I have a couple months till King of the Hammers, and we can go race. So then turned into King of the Hammers. So I kept it pretty much all stock. It was on 35, stock from Jeep front axle, stock transfer case, no gear reduction, and it was a manual. No hydro assist steering, nothing. It was like as stock as you can get with a roll cage and a 4-link back half. The important part is I put bypasses on it front and rear so it rode okay in the desert. Okay, because I tried to tune it myself. And quite frankly, when you've never done that kind of stuff before in your life and you just try to tune it off the whim of your head, it doesn't turn out that great. So in the sense of trying to make it work, I did what I could to my knowledge, and we went and raced hammers. My good buddy, Randy Nix, I knew from high school, from some high school friends, he's a couple years older than me. His dad used to race razors, so he had co-drove in the desert and everything before. And so I approached him with like, hey, help me work on this car and you can co-drive. And so he did. And it was pretty comical. King of the Hammers, typically always the first lap is a desert race and the second lap is the rocks. We did the first lap desert. We did totally okay, not fast by any things, but we're going and continuing. We start lap 2. We enter a rock trail, and he starts to unstrap, and he's like, I'll get out and spot you. He had never wheeled rocks before in his life. And we're going into the King of the Hammer rock trails on a Dana 30 front axle, the smallest Jeep front axle you can get. And man, I was legitimately concerned for the rest of the race.
And people who haven't owned Jeeps before, he's making this sound not that bad. The Dana 30 is not a strong axle, especially if you're racing King of Hammers. Like, that is insanely impressive to race.
I think the best way to explain the strength of a Dana 30 is it's a micro crawler axle attached to a 1/10 scale car.
Yeah.
It's not ideal by any means.
We ended up not breaking anything, and we winched one time in outer limits, and we got to 10 miles away from the finish, and 8 miles of that was desert, and we timed out. And the course worker was like, oh yeah, you're timed out, you're done, that's it. I didn't know I could still let me drive across the finish line so I could feel like I got that finish. So I didn't. I drove back to camp. No not broken, no nothing. So the next 2 days, watching the UTV race and watching the limited race, we just drove around the Jeep and had fun watching everybody. And that very much blossomed into, well, I did this good with a Dana 30, a stock Jeep motor, and junk axles. I can do better. So I spent 6 months chopping it in half again. I chopped the front end off. On a night run, I ended up blowing up the front of the Jeep motor. And so I needed a motor. I'm part of the Cavalcaders Off-Road Club here in Hemet, California. And one of the members used to do sand rails and still does sand rails, but he had a little turbo 4-cylinder Ecotec. I was like, that's perfect, a fast turbo motor. I like that idea. And so I made it a 2.2 turbo Ecotec to a manual Jeep transmission. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I thought it was going to be easy. A lot of the automatics for these motors, like for rock buggies and We Rock and all those things, a lot of people like Jesse Haynes and these big name guys make adapter plates. Nobody made an adapter plate for that Jeep motor or a Jeep transmission to a Chevy Ecotec. So it had a Ford Mustang flywheel with the clutch pads off of a Slingshot, the Polaris Slingshot 3-wheel cars. It had the master out of a different Mustang. It was a bell housing out of I want to say it was a Volvo. I don't remember. It was a mess. I'm like, I got this in the bag. So we're going to go race hammers. So now instead of 180 horsepower, now we have 250 horsepower. And then I put 1-ton axles under it from a Super Duty and put 37s on it. And I was like, we got this thing in the bag. This car is so fast. Did a little bit of shot tuning and stuff on my own once again, learned some things, got the car pretty dialed. I only finished it a week before the race. So I only got 50 miles on the car of testing. That's all we got. Went and raced. Mile 3, got a flat tire that sent me into a bigger rock, breaking the steering box in half, ending my race at mile 3.
Oh.
And that was heartbreak. I was pissed. I was like, I spent all this effort and time. I'm going to make it better. So I got home, fixed it up, did hydro assist steering on it and everything, and then wheeled it for half a season off and on. 2 weeks before Hammers 2019, final day of testing the race car. We had smoked the turbo a week prior, so I put a new turbo on it. Evidently, if you put the wastegate lines backwards on the turbo, instead of getting your desired 15 pounds of boost, you get 40 pounds of boost, and your motor blows to smithereens 2 weeks before the race.
Crap.
So 2 weeks before the race, we built an entirely new 2.2 Ecotech from scratch. And that one I did heads, cam, big turbo, everything, especially like 30 pounds of boost. A lot of people don't understand this on the rock crawler and King of the Hammers aspect of things. You get almost a 50% drivetrain loss in the Ultra 4 cars. So if you have a 600 horsepower motor, you're only putting 300 to the wheels. And so people think 300 horsepower is still not anything. 300 horsepower is still 600 horsepower at the end of the day. It's a lot of power. So that car dynoed at 210 horsepower. I was butthurt until I finally realized that all the drivetrain loss you have, because you have quarter-inch drive shafts, straight cut gears in your Atlas, your transfer case, all those things, a lot of drivetrain loss. So I was bummed. Ended up being the fastest car I've ever pretty much driven until the most recent one. We had 119 that KOH 2019. We got about 20 miles from the finish, and we were not timing out, but the front left lower link mount ripped off the axle. And so we were able to limp it back to camp if it all zip tied up and everything, but we were not able to continue the race. So that was our year. I got mad at racing because, quite frankly, it's unaffordable. I don't have the money to do that. And that's a lot of where Rock Yard and RC comes into play, because to competitively race, it's just not feasible unless you have huge sponsors and everything else. And when you race King of the Hammers once a year, you're kind of a one-hit wonder. You're kind of risky to send money to go racing. So instead of racing, I put some 42-inch tires on the Jeep, and I turned it into a trail buggy. I wheeled hammers for 8-9 months on it. Got tired of rock crawling. All my rock crawling friends said, "You're going to hate selling it." So instead of selling it, I traded it for a Razor. I raced a Razor for about 4 rounds in 2019, late 2019. Loved it, but I wanted to go rock crawling again. So I sold that, and I built my Blue Moon buggy that a lot of people have recognized from Prawn by the Fire, and that Connor owned for a while. And so I spent some time on that, did a few rock events for about a season with that, had a good time with that. Decided I didn't like rock crawling anymore for some reason. Wanted to try drifting. Drifting got wild hair at my butt. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go drifting. Drifting is interesting, man. Connor's car I got was amazing. Mitch, not so amazing with drifting. I did good at Apple Valley Speedway, had a good time, but it was just not my jam per se. So ended up selling that car, and then at that point I missed King of the Hammers. The only reason I raced 2 years ago was when I sold my other house and got the Rock Yard. I kept like 10,000 or 15,000 equity from it that I shouldn't have, and that was for a rainy day. Well, apparently my rainy day was going racing, so I built a whole from scratch. And it was, once again, small axles. And the whole idea was keep the car super lightweight so I can run small axles and not worry about it. And had a great time. We got halfway through the race, and we're in 10th position. We're doing really good. There's a big sand hill. And I blew up the motor. And that just broke my heart. I didn't have the money to fix it. Didn't have the drive to want to fix it, because realizing the cars I was competing against, these cars that we're competing against are full-on V8 cars with high-quality axles and everything. The cars we're racing against are $150,000 cars, and I built a $15,000 car lightweight on purpose to save the stock Jeep-style front axle, a stock Jeep motor, a stock Jeep transmission, and a stock Jeep transfer case. I did everything in my possibility of my building of what I could do to keep it lightweight and trailing arms, everything like that, to work good. And it worked great, but I just didn't have the budget. So I kind of sat on it. I pondered on it, didn't know what to do with it. So it rotted in the garage for 2 years. About probably a year ago now, I had an opportunity come up. One of my family friends, or I say family friends, but one of my race car friends posted a car for sale. And I talked my parents into buying it. The deal was that I was going to sell my car to cover the cost of it, of my portion of the car. I would prep it, I would race it, and after the race, I would sell it. So that way we can recoup the money we got. Because the deal that the car was listed for was so low of a price that I could fix it after hammers and still sell it. So we haven't sold it yet, But that's how I got the most recent race car we raced at this King of the Hammers. A lot of you guys have seen that car. That was at Proline, the Shift Booth. It's the Shift RCS race car. It's a 2016 Trick Toys Fab car. It's got a 640 horse LS3 in it with a Maximum transmission, Atlas transfer case. It's got the nice Spider Tracks chromoly housings front and rear. Cycles 23 inches of wheel travel in the rear, 20 in the front. And that car can do 130 miles an hour through the desert. It's about the scariest thing I've ever driven. I had the opportunity this year, thanks to my parents and family, to be able to race at Hammers this year. I have an amazing support group of friends. I had probably 4 or 5 guys come out that I've met from RC, help in the pits with us and everything. The start of the race, I think we qualified, was it 38th? I think it was 38th is what I qualified, about 100 cars. So I qualified decent enough to where I was happy because I wasn't in the top where I get ran over by the fast guys. I wasn't in the bottom where I was chasing all day. So started the race, doing really good lap 1, got all the way up to like 10th position, doing really good. And the rear end blew up on me. And so that kind of wiped me out of contention. I lost 4 hours to replacing the rear end in the pit, lost a fuel pump, that lost some time. Very frustrating. What was not frustrating, though, is that my uncle that co-drives with me kind of was like, we got to keep pushing. And we got back in the car and we just pushed and drove and drove. That was the longest day ever. So I'm going to keep saying it. I drove and drove and drove and drove. Lap 2, lap 3 were all rocks. When we broke the car, we were finishing up lap 1. So we had 2 full rock laps to finish after a 4-hour delay. And we just kept driving. And because of my experiences with RC cars, picking line choice, because of my experience with WeRock with the buggy I had, I feel very comfortable in the rocks. I drove, I believe, to as good as I possibly can in that race. We had very minimal issues in the rocks. We winched a good 7-8 times. That sounds like a lot until you realize that lap 3, we went into it blind because we're not allowed to plan it for the race whatsoever. So when my uncle and I went to this lap 3, it was already dark out because we lost 4 hours of time. And we're going through these trails that people have never ran before with 10-foot waterfalls. Just a wildly amazing experience. What was really cool for me personally is we were bouncing back and forth between Eric Miller, I believe it was Lauren Healy, I believe, and a couple other the big name drivers that a lot of us know from the RC community, just from racing, of watching the races. I was bouncing around with them through the rock trails because a couple other guys got held up and we're side by side. So as me driving in the big boy race, it was the most fun experience ever. We crossed the line about 4 hours after cutoff, or not after cutoff, but after we wanted to. It was an hour and a half after cutoff. Mathematically, if I didn't have either of my brakes, we were outside of third place by about 3 minutes. So I had the speed, I had the car. It just didn't come together because we had a couple major breaks that took us out. And so it breaks my heart. I don't think we'll be able to race Hammers again due to budget reasons. So I'm very bummed on that aspect. I'm very thankful on the other aspect of I had the opportunity to race such an amazing car. A lot of people dream of driving a race car. I've always had that dream. I've already partially lived it because I built all my own cheap cars. But this was the year that I actually had the opportunity. And I'm super thankful I had it. Super thankful I had all my friends and family there to actually help in the pits and do all of that. So It's been an awesome year.
Dude, that's rad.
Awesome.
Yeah, and this year was brutal for King of Hammers. I mean, most of the top dogs in the 4400 class broke. Like the course this year is no joke. We drove up to Sledgehammer in the Jeeps one night, and me and Wyatt Mellon, we were up there, and we're like, dude, this trail ain't no joke, dude. Like, this is bad. And then like a buggy passes us. We're like, oh, dude, this buggy's gonna kill this dude. This section, he's got this. This dude's winching up every waterfall, and it's like a bitchin' rear steer portal bike. I was like, this is a serious course this year, man. So that's pretty rad. You guys even made it through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so that we covered a little bit about the King of Hammers and the race story and all that. I think we're running out of time though. Yeah, we're already past the
We're 10
time.
minutes last time, but sorry.
Okay. So unless someone else has to share, we could jump to the raffle real quick. And because Mitch is our guest, we'll have him. You have a pen and a piece of paper handy anywhere, Mitch?
I missed that last.
Oh, do you have a pen and a piece of paper anywhere near you?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, write a number between 1 and 100 on it.
1 through 100.
Yeah, just write down one number between 1 and 100.
Okay.
But don't show it to us yet.
Any number between 1 and 100. Oh.
Okay, so tonight's giveaway on Pirate Talk is a Rum Runner T-shirt, and it's got the Rock Parts logo on the front. Rum Runner
Numbers
logo.
don't count until we say go. You crazy people.
Yeah, so don't post any numbers yet, guys. So that's tonight's prize, and go ahead and start posting numbers.
Wait.
Wait. What am I doing?
Hold on. Well, everyone's posting numbers, so I gotta put a break in here somewhere. So anything before.
Yeah, please don't post the number right now, guys. Give us a second.
Oh, we're way past that. There's about 50 million numbers in here.
All right. Ready, set, go.
So it'll be any number after a Bone Box Brian 69.
No, after the Rock Pirates that I said ready, set, go.
Okay.
Let me know if you see it, Mitch.
I saw
see any numbers.
I saw what Jason and Joe tried to do.
See any numbers?
Oh, I'm okay. No.
Oh.
You can't see the chat on the side with the numbers?
If I know how to spell it.
Damn, you picked a really good number and no one's got it yet. Dang.
I'll say there's 2 people on each side.
What we need to do is get more. Have a wheel that spins.
We'll have to do a pirate wheel. Do it like a ship.
Freaking Brad. 69. That one's already been called there, Brad.
I think I've seen 69 about 20 times now.
Oh man.
I'm not seeing it.
Jeez, dude. Dang.
You're not supposed to pick fractions.
You said
There's been 100 comments already almost.
This is really going to boost our live stream to the top of the YouTube algorithm.
I know. Speaking of that,
I'm showing just so many numbers right now.
YouTube's like, these people are going crazy on this live stream.
speaking of that, please don't forget to like and subscribe before we get done.
There's only 100 numbers. Come on, people.
How has no one got this?
I'm still struggling to verify.
Text it to me, Mitch, so I can help.
He has to watch the numbers though.
Well, as soon as he sees it, then we'll stop, and then I can go back.
Just send it to. I'm just getting a lot of people with one number.
Jason says 10 millimeter.
I lost that a long time ago, dude.
Did you get my text?
Oh, I see it. Mr. Felipe.
What number is it?
Yep, Mr. Felipe's got 13.
It's 99?
No,
If it was
68. All right, let me go back.
I never saw 68.
I didn't either.
Mr. Felipe. Oh, you didn't see?
Good Lord.
I saw 69 about 5 million times. Yeah, I'm
Did
scanning.
you know?
I do see a lot of 90 minutes, and I appreciate that because a lot of people probably know from research that that's the race car. I almost did that, but I was like, that's too easy.
Yeah, instantly Joe and Jason were like 97.
Yeah, Mr. Felipe Bootstrap saying that he got 68, so it should be in there somewhere, Chitch.
No, I see that. I'm just looking because remember last week Joe got 68.
What
Joe
time?
got it?
Joe got it 8 minutes and at 8:12 p.m.
Oh, Joe had it first?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just pinging like crazy. There's so many people commenting.
That's fair. Phil's a team driver anyways. We can get him a shirt anytime.
Yeah, Joe got it at 8 minutes and 12 sorry, 8:12.
Okay.
Dumb.
All right, Joe, we got you covered.
And you also won a trip to take your full-size buggy to the Rock Yard. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, shoot.
All right, congratulations, Joe. Email us and just say, hey, I'm this is Joe, and I was on the live stream, and I won the Rum Runner T-shirt, and then please include your address as well, and then we'll mail that out to you.
Right on.
All right, guys. Before we close up tonight, anything you guys want to say or say goodbye as we head out?
Thank you guys for being on here. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anytime, Mitch. Anytime. Yeah, and then just thanks for everybody for stopping in and watching episode 4 of Pirate Talk. And Wyatt wasn't able to make it this week, so hopefully next week or here soon he'll be in here as well. So, but thanks again, Mitch, for coming in here super last minute and giving us your full story and everything you got going on in your life. It was super rad to catch up and see what you got going on. And so thanks again for stopping in here, buddy.
No worries, I appreciate it.
And what's your Instagram handle for the Rock Yard, Mitch?
It's the Rock Yard. Super simple.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so we can get as much publicity over to that Halloween and the Christmas event as possible.
You know what? You broke up, Mitch. Say that again.
The Rock Yard.
The Rock Yard RC.
Yep.
The Rock Yard RC. Okay. Yeah, he broke up again on my thing. Yeah, Mitch, thanks so much for coming on here. Appreciate you. You're a class guy. Awesome behind the wheel. And I just want to encourage anybody that's watching, if you haven't been to one of the events yet at the Rock Yard, if you're in the area and you're able to attend, please go. You won't be disappointed. It's a great time, great location, great people.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing bad to say whatsoever. It's just an amazing place to go and enjoy time with your buddies crawling.
Yeah.
So with all of that, please don't forget and like and subscribe, everybody. And let's keep this channel going, keep it growing. And thanks for being here. As Mitch says, he says, he loves everybody that comes to the Rock Yard, and same with us. If you're in the rock crawling community, and we love you. Thanks for being here.
Right on. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
See you guys. Where did Christian go?
I don't know, but we're still live. Christian disappeared, but
Christian dipped out. Martha's been here with everybody. Oh, now Mitch is gone. Now it's just me.
It's just me and you. What do you want to talk about? We'll start a new show.
Shoot, we'll call it the Connor and Steve show.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? I never did share my Mando helmet.
This is still streaming.
yeah, we know.
Streaming.
I forgot
I'm putting my Mando helmet on there.